Hey guys, I'm HP. This is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is guitar secrets. Modes. Yeah, that's a topic which attracts literally all guitar players from a certain playing level on, but I know it from experience as a teacher. A lot of students don't really get the point about modes, and they think it's just about playing runs up and down once you know the modes, but that's not really the point about modes. Modes is about understanding what you're doing and always referring to the current chord in a song. You know, if you have a song like, I don't know, G to C to D, you know, something like this. Some people say, well, then you just play G major or G major pentatonic and it sounds fun, and yeah, that's true, it works. But if you want to take your playing level, you're playing to the next playing level, then you need to start working with modes, and that's what we're talking about today. What does it mean to work with modes? Where do the modes come from and how are they used? That's what we're talking about today. So let's get started. Let's just take the example which I took before, G, C to D, which is, as I already said, some of you might already know, this is a progression in G. So you play the G major scale. And there are the G major pentatonics. And then you just follow your intuition and just move around the progression, and then you're cool to go. But that's not the way it works with modes. And you could also play a scale for each of those chords. So on G, it's G major. For C, it's G major starting on the C. So, same notes, but you already hear it. It sounds different because the alignment of the notes is different. We call this intervals. The intervals are different. Or from D, it's also G, but starting from the D. Also sounds different than the original alignment starting on the G. And that's one of the points, but the other point is when you really want to refer to chords in your soloing, the chord notes are your target notes. What does that mean? Let's take the example on G. This is the G major scale. So this is a row of intervals, and in the case of G major, it's very simple. It's root, second, triad, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So 1, 3, 5 are the chord notes. You can hear it. It creates a G major arpeggio. 1, 3. Now, if you want to find out the chord notes of C, you cannot go here. You cannot take these ones. You have to start on the C. And here we have it. Now we have another row of intervals. 1, 2, 3. This is sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and again 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. This creates a C major arpeggio. Same on D. We're starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flats. This is a flat 7 in the row of intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, and again 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Creates the arpeggio. So that's how you work with modes. I mean, we only have the 7 notes of the G major, but the way you row up the intervals creates another mode. They have names: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. 7 names, and we're going to talk about these 7 names. We learn the intervals, and we also learn now a pattern to bring the whole thing somehow in a structure. Okay, I mean, this is my method. It's not the only method, of course, but I just want to show my method, how I do it. Okay, so when we take the example in G, you can use the triads, but you can also, when you take 7th chords, that's 1 note more in the arpeggio. 1, 3, 5, 7. It's basically, it's a lot used in jazz, but it's also used in other genres. So these are the 7 chords, and the chord is just an alignment of the chord notes in different variations. So we have a G major, and I like to put it into a structure that we are able to play the whole thing over the entire fretboard at the end of the journey. But the journey starts with step number 1, and this is step number 1. We are learning 3 note per string patterns. This will be this one here. So this is G major, but now in a 3 note per string pattern. And while you learn this, and when you take 3 note per string patterns, you get to these stretch figures where you take middle finger, pinky, if you go over 2, and you have index, middle finger, pinky. The intervals, as I already said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay? And as the example as before, when you take C, we take like this. C will be here. Now we take the pattern from here. As I said, we're not playing G major of the whole thing. We are now really targeting each chord. So when we want to take as an example C, we take this one here, and this leads to this pattern when we take the same notes as here, but start here from the C. I already said that it's Lydian. 1, 2, 3, flap 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, flap 4, 5, 6, 7. Same notes, but we're starting on the C in this position. Okay? Or on the D here, starting here. Same notes, but we have different intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. So this will be the D. So, okay. Or G, C, D. Now we have what we did with creating chords from a certain spot on, from the G, from the C, from the D. Of course, also works on the other notes, and this leads to more chords and more modes. At the end is going to be 7, and then we're going to check them now. So, as I said, G is the first step, or the first. And the mode is called Ionian. Next note will be A minor or A. And now if you want to follow the intervals of the notes from starting from A, we taking the original one here. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, or when we take it here. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. And this one is called the Dorian and refers to A minor or A minor 7. Okay? So if you have a little song with G, A minor, G, D, you can play. You already hear that it's somehow, this plays the chords, but as I said, modes doesn't mean you play up and down, just the patterns. You need to understand. We're gonna get to this point when I'm finished with all chords, okay? A minor. So the next one which comes here is B minor or B minor 7. And when we take in the notes here, creates the Phrygian mode. So we have 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Okay, C already told you, it's Lydian. Or C major 7, C major or C major 7, D, either D or D7, Mixolydian, already showed you. And then the next one will be here, the E, creates an E minor, it's a bit tight for my fingers here, or E minor 7, and creates this mode here, not Lydian, Aeolian. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. And last but not least, the 7th one is not used so often, but it creates a diminished chord, or minor 7 flat 5, a bit tight for my fingers here. I have big fingers, but just to see that I show you. And this creates a mode called Locrian. This will be this one here. Is 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Yo, so these are now the 7 main modes, and when you know these 7, the rest of any modes which come up is a null, zero problem, null problemo, easy peasy. But this, the first step, is really the hard one, till you get the point. I know it from students which I've seen struggle with the topic, till they gotta say, why, what are you talking about? It's all the same notes. No, it's not. As I said, it makes the relation to the chord, and how is the one note related to the current chord. I'll show you an example. If we have a melody here in G, something like this. Really simple. Now, and then have the next here, you have a little motif. You have 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 5, 6, 5. This is a little musical motif. Now you want to move it to the next chord, to A minor. And now you need to adapt this motif to the new mode. So we have to take the 1, 3, 5, 6, but in here we have Dorian. If you have 1, flat 3, you don't have a 3 here, we take a flat 3, 1, flat 3, 5, 6, 5. Now you can hear you can hear the connection between the chords. Even if you don't play the chords, you just play the melody. You hear the chords because you're relating to the new chord in the mode. You switch the mode, you transpose the motif by knowing the relation to the root note in G, 1, 3, 5, 6. You transpose it to the next mode, and in the next mode you don't have a 3, so replace the 3 with flat 3, 1, flat 3, 5, 6. Okay? And so on. Through again. Same thing will be 1, flat 3, 5, and here we don't have a 6, we have a flat 6. Okay? On C, Lydian, we have all 1, 3, 5, 6, 5. And on D, also works on Mixolydian here. On Aeolian, we have 1, flat 3, 5, flat 6. And on Locrian, we have... You always adapt the motif to the new mode, and then this helps the listener to really focus what you're playing. And it's on any genre. You know, any genre, you have progressions. Either you play the key over the entire tune without knowing what you're doing, or you know what you do, and you try to create motifs or develop a melody, and that's the way it's done. You analyze what is done in the current mode, move it to the next. And that's the most efficient way to work with modes. And I'm using these 3 note per string patterns because they're gives some structure. You have the same patterns, just use them like this, and gives you somehow a relation to what you're doing. And this is also the key, the bridge. So we are in this position. Now you want to have another position which covers the rest of the fretboard. And now we're coming to these were now the E-type modes here on G. Now you want to have another type which makes, we are now in the range from here till here. And when we go up here, we need something in between, and that covers up the other one. We have this one here. We do the same thing here. We're starting here on this G. Same thing here. We're down here. This is the ladder up to the high position, so you can work with two types of patterns. I mean, there are books and books with a lot of patterns. As I'm saying, this is my method, and I really work basically in all my playing. I work only with these two, but then I also start to connect, and it's not part of today's tutorial, but this is just the basics of modes. You learn the 2 basic patterns. You know, and then you cover up the whole fretboard with just these 2. And as I said, it's really important. It's not about playing runs up and down. It's about understanding. 1, 3, 5, 6 is here. 1, 3, 5, 6 here. 1, 3, you know, the little motif from before is also here. Okay. And then you cover up the whole fretboard. And then you start, you know, it's like a puzzle. This is first you somehow make a grid around the whole picture, and then you start to get in-betweens, but this is not today's topic. Okay, so I'm going to show you the patterns on, so this was E-type chords. Now we do A-type chords. You already guess, you also have C-type chords, D-type chords, also with patterns related, but you don't need to know the other ones as well. These 2 works pretty well. And when we do the thing here, we have Ionian here. We have Dorian here. Same thing in green. And the all stays the same. Now it's getting a little bit tight for my fingers down here. Let's go down here. Or we do this. I show you the thing in C, just to show you the patterns. That is C, the full row. We have first Ionian, second Dorian, third Phrygian, fourth Lydian. On the intervals stay the same Lydian as I said, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. The intervals, they stay. You just adapt it to the new pattern, and that's it. 5 Mixolydian, 6 Aeolian, 7 Locrian, and we're back on 1 Ionian. Yo. So these are the two types of patterns which are way enough to work up over the entire fretboard. Gives kind of a grid, which helps you for the orientation. That's why I use the 3 note per string. It's not about, and by the way, if you can play them fluently, you're also faster with those. But as it is my method, but you can take any other patterns, of course, and you just move them around, you know. And that's basically the trick. And then you start creating motifs or orientation. When you play on chords, you always go for chord notes. Chord notes is a root, triad, fifth. So if you're in any kind of mode and you play on the chord, you go for the chord notes 1, 3, or 5, or in case of minor, 1, flat 3 and 5, or diminished 1, flat 3, flat 5. And that's what is the basic meaning of modes. It's not about playing fast. Of course, when you can, playing fast is cool, but it's about understanding the intervals and doing the whole thing. Yo guys, this was already a long speech, and I know it's quite dry material, but if you want to become a better player and want to get over the level of just playing pentatonics, there's no way to skip this. And I've seen many guitar players struggle with this topic because it was always the same argument. I get a lot of WhatsApp messages now. I check them later. As I said, I've seen the struggle because the main argument is, I don't understand, it's the same notes, just from somewhere else. It's not. The intervals and the sound when you start from another note is different, and when you target it on the chord, it creates other chords. When you go for the root, triad, fifth, it creates either a major chord, starts somewhere else, it creates a minor chord, or even a diminished chord. That's the main thing you need to understand, and then you understand what modes are for. It's giving you the grid for an extended understanding of music. It's not about speed, it's about understanding, and what even more important, about hearing. When you have an improvisation and you hear do, you know, do, 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 do. I'm really bad in singing. I will start soon singing. Do, ba, 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 ba. You hear this arpeggio. Do, do, ba, 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 ba. Then you're somewhere else from here. Ba, do, ba, 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 ba. It creates something else. A minor arpeggio, you know. Understanding music and hearing it, you know. Hearing is the main thing in music. My teachers always said, you don't hear what you're playing. When I started my studies, and they were damn right. I didn't really, I mean, I was fast, but I didn't pre-hear what I was playing. That's also modes. Understanding music, getting into it, hearing, then starting to play. You know, you can play modes just with melodies. Something very simple which all of you guys can play out there, but probably half of you guys don't understand what it was. And that's what it's about, modes, you know. Try to understand, try to hear, and try to get into this world. And when you understand the thing on the major grid, only with the 7 modes, then you can also do the minor. It's really the same, but it makes no sense to talk about this now when you don't understand the major. Okay? And yeah. Good. If you have any questions, please go to the HPCrazy Guitar Academy, pose your questions there. I can give you more extended answers and give you links to exercises probably, or little examples that you understand better. And there you also will find the patterns which I showed as tabs that you can practice on, and then you have them visible, you know, on your thing. I don't know how you call this thing in English here. You have it. You will always have these pieces of paper on this in your practice room till you're really familiar with that stuff. When you practice them, also learn the intervals by heart. That is really extremely important. If you don't know the intervals, it's like you learn to drive a car, but you know how to drive a car, but you don't see out your car. You know, the window, the front window is closed, and you don't see anything. If you don't know the intervals, you don't see anything. You know. Good. That's all me and Dr. Pinker have to say about this topic. I hope you enjoyed, even it's a really dry material. I know it's not so popular, but in my academy I want to really start to cover up the important stuff and not really going for popular themes, because if you really want to learn music, there's no way to skip this topic, modes. No way. Good. Me and Dr. Pink are saying goodbye.